Hello, and welcome to today's session on how to manage homeschooling, technology, and your kids while still working at home. My name is Cynthia Crossley, and I'm the CEO and founder of Habyts, the first all-in-one habit-building solution for families and schools. Now, with the sudden coronavirus pandemic, the last few weeks have been a time of rapid change and uncertainty for all of us. We're having to deal with situations that almost all of us have never expected to experience. So I wanted to host this webinar and provide some guidance and tips on how to manage homeschooling, technology, and your kids while you're still having to work at home. I have 3 boys that range in age from 8 to 20. I currently run a software business, and I've also held diverse roles at Microsoft and other organizations. So I really can relate to having to juggle work life with managing kids at home. And right now, I'm in the same boat of having to work while juggling multiple responsibilities, suddenly having to homeschool, with a lot of the work being online, which creates some inherent friction in terms of digital distractions. I'm managing the role of technology as well as social isolation. And all I want is for my kids to develop the essential habits for happiness and success. So where do I start? Well, when I asked folks what they were interested in, there were a number of considerations, including schedules, school assignments, sleep, non-screen activities, chores, studying online without digital distractions, passive versus productive media, screen time transition, self-management, family togetherness, and much, much more. But the word schedules came up quite often as folks were preparing for school closures. If you go online, though, there are schedules all over the place. But the question is, schedules are only part of the story. How do you get your kids to follow that schedule? So let me give you first a repeatable way to tackle these issues. It's called PACE. Then I'll walk you through how it works when it comes to structure, routine, motivation, and buy-in. Now, PACE has 4 parts: preparing purposefully, automating consistently, celebrating often, and experimenting together. Let's start with preparing purposefully, our structure. Now, structure is important for your kids to feel a sense of security during these uncertain times. So while they may push against it with you, structure provides that consistency that they need right now, as well as the control and the responsibility that actually they're really hungry for. Good structure allows for flexibility within boundaries, which is important for kids to ultimately learn how to self-manage. Structure is not just about time schedules, but it's also about routines, rituals, and habits. For example, you may schedule homeschooling in the morning, but the routine you're teaching is when homework is done, then we have screen time. And delayed gratification is a powerful habit that kids have to develop, but we'll talk about that more later. So yes, I've created a schedule for my sons, which we'll share a little later, but your schedule will be different based on your school, your child, the ages of your kids, their temperaments, etc., as well as your own personal goals. And that's where we should start. Now, before you set the schedules and routines, think about your goals as well as those of your kids. Too often, we all try to achieve everything at once, at least I do, and I really encourage you to nail down what's important to you over the next few weeks. This is key to keep you on track and motivated, and to remind you to celebrate the progress. And then, depending on the age of your kids, share your goals with them. And then ask them what their goals are. What will make your kids feel good about the next few weeks? So here's an example of some goals to consider. I've listed some personal goals, such as keeping family life calm, keeping up to date with schoolwork, providing digital balance, and making sure that you have the time to do the work that you need to do. Your child may have goals such as playing Fortnite or Minecraft with their friends. They probably do want to generally keep up with their homework, and they may have goals like wanting to be able to do 20 push-ups a day by the end of the time that you have the school closed. You only know if you ask them and give them some creative ideas about what their goals might look like. And then there might be family goals, such as staying connected with grandparents. The next step is to then think through the activities that you can do. So we started with putting the big rocks into our schedules, like sleep, eating, schoolwork and education, chores and life habits, reading, family time, and play. And play is particularly important because there are many forms of play. There is physical, creative, unstructured, digital, outdoor, and social, and they all have their place. And you'll find that if you're looking to try to find opportunities for your kid to experience that variety of play, there is more than enough for your kids to do. So one thing you do have to remember is not everything is equally important all the time. And then finally, revisit those goals that you talked about earlier. So your child's goals might be playing Fortnite with friends, and maybe that's a goal of doing that 30 minutes a day. Or if we go back to that push-ups goal, maybe it's about doing 2 push-ups before each new lesson in order to build that push-up strength. At the same time, you could have a family goal of reading to grandparents each night. And in that case, you're kind of, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, which is when you're a busy parent is essential. So here's an example of a schedule. So you'll see in this schedule that we've made sure to put in our big rocks. So we've got the meal times clearly staked out. And that's important because when you're building schedules across your family, you want to make sure that those big rocks are consistent. So I always know that we will have meal times around this time, and that's a great time for us all to come together as a family. And my boys know that at whatever age that, that's a big rock. You then can see that we've built in some of the schoolwork, and this is following some of the guidelines from our school, as well as the chores, the different types of play, social play being incredibly important, some time for family time and games, as well as reading to grandparents. So of course, this is an example, and we won't even follow this every single day to the letter. I'm looking forward to my duvet days as well, but it gives us a starting point of consistency so that I can actually work around this schedule with my work responsibilities as well. Now, all of this is great, but the question is, how do you get these activities to happen? This is where we come to routines and habits and automation, because routines and rituals make the schedules work well. So schedules show what activities get done when, but routines tell us how these activities get done. Habits are automatic routines that come from consistent repetition. And ironically, automating our structure can help build these good habits. So here are some routines and rituals you may want to try. Most kids don't like cleaning up, so having music and dance during cleanup throughout the day is a way to make it more fun, get everyone involved, and make sure that you don't have a pile of additional chores at the end of the day. Having some post-screen time fun really helps with transitions. So rather than a routine that says, do your homework, then you can have some digital play, and then you have to go upstairs and get ready for bed or clean your room, will not be as successful as homework, some digital play, and maybe something fun afterwards to help with that transition. So moving from screen time to tossing a ball around is a lot more fun and is a lot more helpful in terms of building long-term habits and behaviors. Music and bells as transitions help create that continuity between home and school and can be particularly fun for younger kids. Letting your kids teach you one fun thing a day is a nice ritual in order to help your kids feel a sense of control. Prepping the night before is really, really helpful so that you start off with a good schedule from the start. Involving kids in your chores, especially with things like making meals, even if it's just, setting the table or other small bits. It's really helpful in teaching life habits to get kids involved in some of the things that you have to do. And for you and me, as a busy parent juggling lots of things, I find a good ritual is to just breathe after I have a call or a meeting before I interact with my family. So I sort of get out of my work headspace and into my family headspace. So let's get really practical on a big pain point for so many parents when kids are home for a long period of time. I'm going to focus on managing screen time and motivating kids to get things done. And full disclosure, you can teach your kids these habits, but it will take time if you don't have some tools to help. So I'm going to pull out how habits in particular can help with this process. So here are some of the key routines and habits that will support you from a screen time perspective during this time. And when I say screen time, I mean in the sense of how we think about screen time in habits, which is screen time is just something that pervades a lot of family life. So let me give you some examples. You'll probably want to set up some rituals and boundaries around protecting sleep by having some wind down time with limits before going to bed, setting study blocks without digital distractions. That's something that Habits can help you on in particular. The Habits app that we have, in that you can set it up so that your kids can work online, but it still blocks digital distractions. You could even decide to remove those passive digital distractions all day. The next set of things to think about is in terms of helping with self-management. So giving your kids visibility of their own screen time and letting them set screen time allowances. So in our Habits app, kids can press and start their own playtime if you choose that to be the case, so that they learn to actually manage their time over the course of the day. So if you say an hour of the day for entertainment screen time, they might use 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, and they're learning to manage with that screen time allowance. And then finally, in terms of automation, motivation is crucial. So our Habits app is unique in that it ties together screen time and tasks and rewards. And so setting up tasks and schoolwork before your recreational technology for kids is extremely useful. And we've talked about that a little bit earlier in the presentation. Also, earning bonus screen time or non-screen rewards is very helpful in terms of, motivating kids to complete what they need to in those schedules, and allowing them the self-tracking of their screen time and their tasks and their privileges and rewards is getting them on a path to self-management. And you'll find that over time, that's useful in a number of ways. For example, in freeing up your time as well, but also in helping them to develop, obviously, as responsible adults. So just a few words as I begin to wind up. You've prepared goals and a schedule, and hopefully you're now creating these automated routines. But all too often we stop there and we forget the most important piece, which is celebrating success. Because kids really, really want to do well, and they want to be good at things. And all of this change is fraught. So I would encourage you to set some achievable wins to celebrate, because even the smallest win builds confidence, and it establishes that rapport that you'll need right now. Like, getting out of bed, small, achievable, let's celebrate, especially if it's a teenager. Or maybe you've been trying to help your child transition off of screen time 5 days in a row, and it's not gone well. And on day 6, they get off without any problem. Celebrate that. Make them feel positive when they show that good behavior. So we're all going to be super busy. We have to make an effort to catch our kids doing good. And just a reminder that rewarding that effort doesn't really take that much. Descriptive praise is a tool that's very helpful in this case. So rather than just saying, good job, or, coming up with a reward each time, oftentimes kids just want the acknowledgement that you've seen what they've done. So oftentimes you can just say, I see that you've, closed down your video game without me asking. And that's great. That's all you need. You've acknowledged that they've done what you have been asking them to do. But you can also do more traditional rewards and bonus points that will give them, extra screen time if you like, or again, non-screen rewards. And things like that could be, they can choose the Saturday movie for the family. It doesn't have to be big. Often, actually, a reward of having a choice is the best reward that kids like. And finally, everyone should have at least one win each day. It makes a big difference to start the day identifying what a good win could be, and to end the day achieving it. So make it achievable, make sure you celebrate it. And finally, remember that things are going to go wrong. You shouldn't just expect it. You should actually relish it, because this is your chance to help your kids learn that setbacks are okay. Because to be honest, they rarely get a chance for that to happen at school. So start the journey with a mindset of experimentation, because, the likelihood of that schedule I showed you working every day is low. It's going to change. So make sure that you have said to your kids, hey, we're in this together. We're going to try this today. We're going to try this schedule, this routine, this way of doing things. And you know what? The bits that don't work, we're going to tweak together. We're going to learn together. And with Habyts, you can even turn that screen time management piece into a family experiment with our Habyts family scorecard. I won't go into detail, but it's a chance for everyone to, within limits, share the amount of screen time that they are using, and have a little bit of healthy competition and fun around screen time management. Because I don't know about you, but I can sometimes find it as difficult to stop the scrolling as my kids. So you can get the whole family involved by sharing stats and progress within limits. And you can inspire your kids by showing that you're monitoring your own screen time. So turn it into a bit of family fun. And finally, we're here to help at Habyts. We have lots of resources, upcoming webinars, blogs. If you go to the resources page, habyts.com/resources, you'll find lots of guides on descriptive praise, on screen time rules, etc. If you go to our blog, there are a couple of articles on specifically how to handle screen time and chores during a shutdown. And if you want to just talk to us, you can schedule some time with us using habyts.com/schedule now, or give us a shout at habyts.com/family/contact. And if you're new to Habyts, you can simply download it and get started. There is a free trial. It will help you regulate the screen time and content. It will help motivate your kids using tasks and rewards. It will support your family connection with things like the family scorecard, as well as some fun with something that we do with something we call Habitars, and to help build, good habits for life. And just as a side note, we even work with schools to help manage remote learning and to make that connection between home and school. So thank you. We're all in this together. So I really, really hope to hear from you all and maybe get your feedback on how we can help more with Habyts, resources that we provide, features that would be useful, etc. Thank you again for your time, and take care.